And that was Smokey Donohue's Western Swingers playing Red Dust for all you Martian fans out there. Now let's take a look at the new recordings, hot off the presses this week from all over the system. Looks like we have a real treat for you tonight, folks. That's a brand new label from way out in outer space. Yes, sir, the very first recording put on wax by the Martian Recording Company. And it ought to be a Lulu. We'll spin it for you in just a minute. But first, here's a message from our sponsor, the Oxygen Corporation of America, Earth's oldest and finest manufacturers of compressed oxygen equipment. Friends, when you're scooting around in your little rocket roadster, do you ever stop to think that your fine vehicle deserves nothing but the best in equipment and accessories? Well, next time, take a look at your oxygen tanks. Are you still using the cumbersome, old, outmoded tank with ugly valves and low capacity? Wouldn't you rather have the new, streamlined Oxco tank that gives you a month of service without refilling? Models cost as low as $4,000, and they're guaranteed up to a full year. Call your local Rocket Supply store today and get all the facts. When you see the new Oxco, you'll know why we say, Oxco never leaves you breathless. Well, I see Jonesy, our control board operator, waving at me like mad, folks. He wants to hear this new disc from Mars, too. So, without further ado, here we go. It's on the Canal label, and it's called Melancholy. The boss slammed the file drawer shut in disgust. The Martian, standing before his desk, shuffled his feet and rotated his cap with his third hand. "Displease you?" he said. "Come back other time, do?" "No!" Hubert pointed to the chair. "You sit down. We're going to straighten this whole thing out right now." He reached across the desk and snapped on the intercom. "Davis," he said, "we're going to have a foreman's meeting this minute." Davis, at the other end, was inclined to argue, but the boss stopped him. "Don't tell me we're busy. I know our production schedule better than you do. Get the foreman up here, right away." The foreman shuffled in 10 minutes later. They looked sheepish, like small boys caught in the jam pot. Huber got right to the point. "You boys have been picking on Chaffnew again, and I won't stand for it." He slapped the desk with a board-like palm for emphasis. Curly, the foreman, said, "Aw, gee, boss, just a little rhubarb, that's all. Just a little kidding around. Boys didn't mean any harm." "Mean any harm?" Huber's eyes were so wide they threatened to pop out on the desk. "Chaffnew, show it to him." The Martian looked embarrassed. Then he slowly lifted his rope-like foot and displayed the quarter-size burn on the heel. "Kidding around?" Huber looked dangerous. "That's what you call kidding around? They could have burned Chaffnew to a crisp. You know how sensitive he is." Burke, the small parts man, said placatingly, "Well, the boys are kind of edgy, Mr. Huber. It must be the weather or something. They need a little, what do you call it, outlet." "Besides," said Curly, "the goons kind of provoked them. You know what I mean?" "Don't ever use that word to me." The irritation that had been brewing in Huber all day now boiled over. He walked around the desk and shoved his big jawed face up close to Curly's chin. His small stature made no difference. Curly trembled nervously. "They're Martians," the boss said, "not goons. Understand? Martians. Isn't that right, Chaffnew?" Chaffnew looked as if he wished Earth had never been born. He glanced up guiltily at the assembled foreman. "All right," said Huber. "Now let's get this straight. One more incident like today, and I'll hold you guys responsible. Chaffnew and all the other Martians in the plant are doing good work. Better, if you want to know, than most of your Earth guys." Sure, mumbled Curly. If we all had 3 hands, we could. That's enough, I say, shouted the boss. He swabbed his forehead with his hands. We got Oxco tanks to turn out, so let's get to it. The meeting's over. The foreman left, more chestfallen than when they'd entered the office. Chaffnew looked uncertain as to what he should do next. The Martian simply sat and watched Huber go back to his desk. The boss went over to the musiphone and flipped the switch. My nerves are shot, he told Chaffnew. He sat back down in his swivel chair, sighed, and closed his eyes. The haunting strains of melancholy drifted through the office, and Huber lifted and slowly relaxed. The Martian just sat there, miserable. Hi there, fly boys. Time to climb into the wild black yonder again with your old skipper, Vince Finelli, bringing aid and comfort to all the ships in space. We've got a rocket chamber full of new notes and blue notes, all the latest hits from the Bings of Earth to the rings of Saturn. So buckle your G-belts and lend an ear to the biggest instrumental smash that's hit the system in an eon. You asked for it, spacemen, so here it is again. That ever-loving outer space symphony, Melancholy. The pursuit was in order when the accident happened. Earth's gravity gripped it like a giant hand and brought it plummeting down into a granite quarry in Wisconsin. It was a Sunday, and the explosion of the ship's reactor didn't kill anybody but the 2 pilots. There was a routine investigation, but the evidence, as usual, was spread across too many states to make it productive. But when the Marjorie, a space freighter, got herself in trouble, the pilot managed to reach the Earth Communications Center before he disappeared forever into the Mediterranean. The voice cried out something like, "Ox on bum!" Then the Pinafore registered an SOS. This time an accident was avoided. A tug was dispatched to the site in a hurry, and the pilots were transferred. The captain of the tug submitted his log to the Space Commerce Board, and the most pertinent page read, Pinafore's oxygen tank, manufacturer Oxco, serial 2853, were defective and were seriously endangering life aboard. Diane Huber tilted the decanter and held it over the glass a little too long for her husband's liking. Easy, easy, he cried from his chair. How much of that stuff do you think I can take? This one's mine, she said, starting to pour another. Huber shifted in his seat. Aren't you overdoing it, honey? He asked uneasily. I mean, do you really think you should drink so much? It kills time, she said. It makes the hours a little shorter. What else have I got to do? You've got your job. What have I got? Well, I mean, if the kids are pasted to the screen, she replied, meaning that they were at the television set. She flopped on an overstuffed sofa and yanked her skirt almost to her thighs. She still had lovely legs, Huber thought, but she used them like an old frump. And she wasn't even 50, just 47. Why did she have to flop around that way? Well, let's have it, she said, twirling the amber fluid in her glass. My Hard Day at the Office, by George Huber, age 11. He looked up almost shyly. Oh, nothing new, he said in a low voice. Same old stuff. Diane swallowed half of her scotch. She gave a little cough, blinked, and said harshly, You know that's not so. Something's up, some kind of labor trouble, and your tanks are blowing out all over space. Is that the same old stuff, George dear? Huber put down his paper. It's the men, he said. They've gone nuts or something. Moping around all day, singing the blues, snapping your head off if you make one little suggestion. Diane closed her eyes. I'm listening. Go on. Something's gone wrong with all of them, said Hubert, eager to pour out his overburdened heart. They act like they just don't want to work, turning out plain junk on the assembly line. Even the accuracy control boys are letting down on the job, and they're supposed to be crackerjacks. In fact, the only guys that are doing any kind of job are the Martians. I hired myself 15 more today, but that's only going to stir up more fuss. I hate them, said Diane, sipping slowly and looking down into her glass moodily. Ugly, slippery things. Ugh! What? Said George blankly. Your Martian friends, taking away good jobs from Earth people, never buying anything, and those awful arms. If you ask me, we ought to send them right back where they... You don't know them, he interrupted loudly. They're nice, quiet folks. They work hard, and they don't give you a hard time. They're 10 times as efficient as some of the bums in... All right, you don't have to shout at me. Diane stood up and gulped the rest of her drink down. Then she went over to the phonograph. Are you going to play that song again? Asked Hubert. Do you mind? She said sarcastically. I happen to like it. Hubert said something under his breath and returned to his paper. But when the record started, he put it down and just listened as the strange, haunting Martian melody filled the room. Blinker. Then the Martian says, for Pete's sake, why can't you clean up this filthy cave sometimes? Straight man. So what did his wife say? Blinker. So his wife says, what do you expect? I've only got 3 hands. Laughter. Straight man. Well, tell me, Blinker, what else do you do on your trip to Mars? Did you meet any... What's wrong? Blinker. Nothing wrong. Just don't step in front of the camera, that's all. Straight man. Ha ha. Sorry, old man. Tell me, what else did you do on... Blinker. Now, for Christ's sake, I told you to get out of the way. What are you trying to do? Hog the show? Director, off camera. Psst! Blinker, what are you doing? We're on the air. Blinker. I don't care if we're on the air. Air? I won't be pushed around. Straight man. You won't, eh? Okay, you fat tub of lard, I've had enough of you. Director. Blinker. Adams. Blinker. I'll punch that stupid face right into... Announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, the Universal Broadcasting Company interrupts the Joe Blinker Comedy Hour to bring you a program of recorded mood music. Our first selection is a popular record on the Canal label entitled Melancholy. The chairman rapped his gavel for order. One more demonstration like that and we'll have to clear the room of spectators, he warned. This inquiry is a serious matter and we cannot permit levity. Now, Mr. Collins, go on with your testimony. Montague Collins, the 51% owner of the Oxygen Corporation of America, looked uncomfortable. I beg your pardon, he said. I did not mean to be funny. I agree with the chair that defective equipment is a serious business, and my reference to the Martian's 3 hands was meant in earnest. We understand. Go ahead, Mr. Collins. I was merely stating that, contrary to articles in the public press, the Martian's efficiency level has been more than maintained at the Oxco plant. It's the human efficiency level that has declined. There was an excited buzzing. I believe, he continued, mopping his face, that this fact will be borne out by the experience of many other manufacturers, and I'd like to submit in evidence some replies to letters I have sent to executives all over America. You will see that they corroborate what I have told you. May I have the chairman's permission to read these replies as part of my testimony? It does not seem relevant at the moment, Mr. Collins, but they may be submitted for publication into the record. Please tell us about your own experience. I'm afraid I do not have much to add. As a result of our troubles, we are increasing the number of Martian employees considerably. Just how many is considerable, Mr. Collins? Montague Collins cleared his throat. We now employ 4 Martians for every 3 humans. Not even the gavel could quiet the spectators this time. Curly was about to demolish a ham and Swiss on rye, but when the Martian moved across his line of vision, he paused and called out, "Hey, Chaffnew!" The Martian stopped and swiveled his bulbous head around at the foreman. "Yes," he said. "Want a bite of this?" He held up the sandwich. "No, your thanks," said Chaffnew. "Go on, take a taste. It's good for you." "Do not think this," said Chaffnew, trying to solve the old riddle of how to produce an engaging smile. He merely succeeded in looking like a surprised beetle. "What's the matter, Chaffnew? Too good to eat with your foreman?" Curly flushed. The hirings and firings of the last 2 months had unnerved him, and the fact that he was handling his own job poorly only made the situation worse. "Have not required to food," said the Martian. "Best existence of silicon substitutes. Understanding due? However, your thanks, and very." He began to move on, but Curly was obviously in the mood for trouble. He got up from the bench and put his beefy hand around one of Chaffnew's arms. "It's pain," said Chaffnew mildly. "Improvement if released. Your thanks." "You're a wise guy, Chaffnew," said Curly. He knew that he was skirting a dangerous edge, but he was just too irritated to care. "You're a bug-eyed bastard. What do you say about that?" "I have comment inward," the Martian answered, trying to pull away from the foreman's grip. "In fact," said Curly, now squeezing harder, "I got a good mind to kick you right in the seat of the pants, and keep kicking till you fly right back to Mars." "Pain," said Chaffnew. "Can release do?" "And what if I don't?" "Am in power yours," said the Martian. "You're goddamn right, and I'm going to give you a little lesson in manners, you—" "Curly!" Huber came striding over fast, and the look on his face was sufficient to make the foreman drop both the Martian and sandwich. "Gee, boss, Never mind," Huber thundered. "You had the chance. Now you're getting your walking papers. Get out of here, Curly. Get out of here now." "But, Mr. Huber—" "I said beat it. You're not the foreman around here anymore. And in case you want to know who your successor is, take a look." Huber pointed a shaky finger at Chaffnew, who bowed his head modestly. "And there it is, folks, the big one, the top one, the melody that has swept the solar system. You've proved your love for it. All the disc jockey requests, all the record sales, all the jukebox $50 have shown that once more, for the 41st week in a row, the #1 tune on your hit parade is Melancholy. But you don't have to get excited, folks, because I'm not going to play it for you. I'm going to spin it all for myself, and you can just sit there and drool. And if anybody wants to fire me for it, let him go ahead and see if I care. Oh!" Woolsey of the U.S. Department of Labor zipped up his briefcase and went over to the office window. He looked outside at the Capitol building, but the location permitted only a fractional view of the impressive edifice. Anyway, the sun was shining brightly, and the grass was green. The man, sitting in the chair facing his desk, recalled his presence with a polite cough. "Oh," said Woolsey, turning around. "Sorry, mind's wandering, I guess." "I know how you feel, Mr. Woolsey. My job is getting me down, too. Can't seem to get interested in the newspaper anymore. Just the thought of work irritates me." Woolsey sat down, humming softly to himself. He toyed with a paperclip, then started to bend it out of shape. "But I guess I better get the story," sighed the man in the chair. "Boss will give me hell otherwise. Although," he added, "he seems to care about work even less than I do." "Yes," said Woolsey abstractly. "My, it certainly is a nice day. Damn shame to be indoors on a day like this." "What say we go for a walk?" asked the reporter. "We can take a stroll around the fountain. We can do our business just as well." "Splendid idea," said Woolsey. "This place is getting on my nerves." Outside, the assistant labor secretary said, "Oh, it's true, all right. The Martian labor force now outnumbers the humans by 5 to 1. Some companies have completely converted to Martians, like the Oxco Corporation, for instance. In fact, it probably won't be very long before we'll have an all-Martian labor force across the country." The reporter said, "Can I quote you?" "If you like," the labor man shrugged. "Seems like employers just can't find men interested in their jobs. But the Martians go merrily along, using their 3 hands at maximum efficiency. And it's not just in manual labor that they're gaining tremendous amounts of ground." "How do you mean?" Woolsey paused by the flowing fountain, watching the cool gusher leap from the mouth of a stone fish. "Well," he said vaguely, "they're taking over other kinds of work. White-collar stuff. Teaching, architecture. In fact, I heard that the Brooklyn Dodgers are considering a Martian for third base." "No!" Woolsey said, "The water looks nice, doesn't it? I wonder if they would mind if I took my shoes off and—" "Mr. Woolsey!" "Oh, just for a minute, you know. Can't see any harm in it. Matter of fact, should be quite refreshing." "Yes, but, sir—" "Oh, come on," said Woolsey, starting to unlace his shoes. "If you'd rather work, go ahead. I want to relax." He took his shoes off and began to work on the socks, humming the strains of Melancholy to himself. The reporter scratched his head. "I don't want to work," he confessed. "I haven't wanted to work for months. The whole idea of working just makes me sore." He hesitated a moment, then reached down for his shoelaces. The Martian stood in front of the boss's desk, but this time there was no nervousness in his manner. "Chaffnew," said Huber. "Yes, sir," said the new foreman. "Chaffnew, I have something to tell you, and I don't know how you're going to take it." "Please?" said Chaffnew. Huber got up and went to the table. There was a leather suitcase perched on top. He took it off and placed it on his desk. Then he opened it. He reached over and took Diane's photograph from the blotter and put it inside. "You've been doing a good job," the boss continued. "An excellent job, as a matter of fact." "Properly thanking," said Chaffnew. "I don't want you to thank me. It's only logical, after all, especially when we put nothing but Martians in your shop. We needed a Martian foreman then." He went to the bookcase and lifted out 2 of the books and dropped them into the suitcase. "Now things have changed again, Chaffnew. Changed drastically. And the Oxygen Corporation of America is going to need your help." "Desirable of service," said Chaffnew. "Very willing of it." "I know you are, and that's why the board of directors have decided that you should take over the whole show." He clicked the suitcase shut with an air of finality. "Uncomprehended," said the Martian blankly. We're an all-Martian plant now, Huber said. Even the front office will soon be all Martian. The stockholders figure that the only reasonable thing to do is put a Martian in charge of everything. You were my recommendation, and the board accepted it. But strange. Your work job do not? If you mean it's my job, the answer is no. It's not my job anymore. Oh, don't feel sorry for me. I want to quit. I just haven't been able to pull my weight around here for the last year. I'm getting lazy or something, Chaffnew. The whole idea of working bores me silly. Huber went over to the musiphone and turned it on. Melancholy, he said, as the haunting phrases emerged from the loudspeaker. That's the way I feel about work. You know something, Chaffnew? Sometimes I think that damn tune has something to do with it. Sir? Oh, I know it sounds crazy, but somehow, the way I feel about working and the way the tune sounds, they're all mixed up in my mind. Oh, well. The boss picked up his suitcase. The job's yours, Chaffnew. So's the office. Both of them aren't the greatest in the world, but I had some fun. He stuck out his hand. Good luck, he said. Cannot, said Chaffnew. What? Impossible for accepting, said the Martian. But why? You know you can handle it. Confidence, great and very, said the Martian. But reason is not for acceptance. Plentiful jobs for Martians. I don't get you. Decline offer responsible for plan change. Understand? Quitting from factory, do Chaffnew. Otherwise business. You mean you're leaving the factory? You're going to take another job? Huber looked befuddled. Excitement offer, said the Martian. Great salary remuneration. Opportunity. Well, I'll be damned. Huber grinned and slapped Chaffnew lightly on his sensitive back. I guess you know what you're doing, Chaffnew. Plenty of opportunities for Martians these days, especially since humans don't seem to want to work. Situation so, said Chaffnew. Okay then, said Huber. Whatever you have in mind, Chaffnew, I hope you make a go of it. Good luck, old pal. Friendship, said Chaffnew warmly, clasping Huber's hand in his three and shaking it enthusiastically. Hello, you today. Time again emerging for spins on table with disc black musical. Back up and sit relax. Pipe smoke and good food eating. Abundancy of music available herein. Bring pleasure immensely into home yours. Currency, latest new recordings employ old yours, Chico Chaffnew. Piping soon big favorite Martian song, Melancholy. But first, a message from sponsor ours.